All right, so we're going to do a quick recap here. We're about to move up from operations 54 to 55. The upgrade time for me was about 715 days. I popped an exocomp, which knocked it down to about 640, and then with 20 alliance helps, it's down to 516. Quick recap of faction things that should change. I don't know if my Bajoran faction store is going to change, so let's just run through what we're looking at here for values. In terms of material credits, this is what we're getting now. We can always do a pause and recapture later. Token credits, this is what we're getting for mats. The Bajoran faction store is usually linked to ops level, so it's about 7 million per box. So we're just going to recap these real fast. It's about 6 million per box here. Hopefully we see some solid changes here in terms of these. 4.5 million a box. What's the cost to go from 54 to 55? In terms of like ops level, it was, with all my research and stuff, it was like 30,000 G5 uncommon and 6,000 G5 rare ore, and then like a trillion or a trillion and a half par steel or something like that. So it was kind of obviously it's everything scales. Refinery buffs, these should reset. The 5-star refinery nodes should reset, as should my ship parts. I don't know if my territory ones are going to change again. I don't know where they cap out at, but we'll guess we'll pull the trigger and see. These won't change because these are capped at 50. They don't get any bigger. These should all be linked to the tier of the Talios, so none of this stuff should change. Voyager's linked to the tier of the ship, and I believe the Monavine is also linked to the tier of the ship. Well, it's tier and ops level, so these might change the Queen's favor, because even though my ship is staying at tier 4, it is going from level 54 to 55, so these actually should reset here as well. Alright, anything else? Oh, Armada chests. Let's take a look at those real fast, if we can. I don't have the mod, so I can't see in, but these have a 2-day cooldown on these boxes. These should reset. As far as cost goes, this is 2.5. I want to say the G5 rare is 300,000 and the epic is 100,000, but I don't know offhand if that's correct. None of this stuff should change. None of this stuff should change. And don't think any of this other stuff here should change either. This one should reset. My artifact box that I pulled this last night or this morning should also change, because now I'm going from 54 to 55. All right, let's do it. What's this going to cost me? 155,000 Latinum. Not terrible. Not terrible. Moving on up. Moving on up to a deluxe space station in the sky. 16 10-day speed ups. Well, that comes in handy, I guess. Alright, so that BAM is done. I need shipyard and refinery to go from 55 to 56. The refinery requires the titanium vault, so we've got kind of a hybrid bunch of stuff in here. I can probably do the titanium vault actually, so that might actually, 55 might not be much of a level, unless the shipyard requires a bunch of stuff. Shipyard requires R&D to go to 55. Requires defense platform E to be 54. And defense platform E is going to require all your dry docks and all your previous defense platforms. So that's going to be a bottleneck, because now I have to push everything from, well, actually, is it only 54 though? Was it only 54? Did I misread this? Defense platform has to go to 54. Okay. So my dry docks are actually, most of them are 54 already. So they don't have to be 55, just 54. So I have some guns I have to upgrade. They have to go from 53. So I'll need a few of these guns upgraded. Those all require rare gas now. Yikes. That's going to be expensive. But I guess if we're going to do it, I mean, at least doing it now is pretty solid. Okay, so this only requires the vault. Okay, so this one requires the shipyard, requires R&D. R&D requires the academy as always. And the academy requires 27,000 uncommon, 3,500 rare, which I just had to spend all of my rare. And then 2 trillion. That's not so bad. Par steel. Now the other cool thing is this box changed and I can finally now refine rare materials. So I actually have a chance of getting small amounts of rare in my boxes. My 3 chest pull here increased. It was 175,000. Now it's 200,000 materials. So that went up slightly. Oh, nice. We got 40 rare. It's a good start. Ship parts, this also changed. We're not getting any rare ship parts yet. So no change there. My territory, okay, so these did increase slightly. I think I was getting yeah, there's a slight increase in cost and emulsion payout on these. Not much, but a little bit of a bump up there. The amalgam didn't change. None of the support stuff changed. None of these changed. None of this stuff changed. Nope, no changes here. Voyager doesn't have anything that changed. Again, all tied to the ship. Forbidden Tech, all tied to the Court of Q building costs. But my Monavine favors did change. Okay, so I was getting about 64, 65 billion par steel previously. Now it's up to 86 billion. So that's a nice increase. I think titanium was about 11. Now we're getting 14. And I want to say this over here was something small like 1.5. And now we're up to 1.9. So a little bit of an upgrade there. And we're going to head into our factions here. Our Bajoran store. Our loot boxes did not reset, so there were no changes there. But our credit claims did, because they now include rare in here. Rare and epic. Actually, probably we just went, there probably already was rare. Epic was probably added. So the cost on these went up a little bit. And the amounts changed slightly. I think it was 255, now it's 260. Carissa, thank you for resubscribing for month number 8. Very much appreciate that. Okay, so we're getting little bits of materials here. And this went from 81 to 82. So there's a slight little adjustment there. None of this other stuff changed. Exborg stuff is all the same. Forbidden Tech protomatter cost for the building part should have changed. So you're talking about if I go over here, this did change. You're right. This did reset. This went from, I want to say it was like 1950 or 2000 to now it's 2100. So there was a subtle little change here in terms of converting protomatter into building materials for the Court of Q. That is a downgrade. Good point out there, Sugar. But everything else all looks about what I expected it to be. I can upgrade my treasury again, and this is actually isn't every 5 levels you get a cargo capacity boost. So I'm going to get, in addition to just getting a couple percent more in these first two buffs. I'm actually also going to get 5% more to my base cargo. So let's just get that going, because I'm going to be bottlenecked a little bit here by the Academy. That's going to slow me down, not having any rare ore left and needing 3,500 of it. But in terms of all of those wonderful things, if I go over to my event stores, the payouts in these bundles also look like they went up slightly. This stuff all looks the same because it's only 4-star materials that are involved. Yeah, so nothing looks like it changed over here, even though my pips are highlighted. But these got a slight little adjustment. Nothing in the battle pass changes mid-month, so upgrading mid-month doesn't do anything for you in terms of your payouts for that kind of stuff. Or for ticket events and things like that. So I think that's it. As far as any other types of upgrades and things like that, I don't believe that I have anything ops related ship-wise. Because I think the final tier of the Talios is like 57 or something like that. This final component here, 58 is the transwarp coil. So you can get the 11 in your mid 50s, and then you got to go all the way to 58 to finish the ship off. So that's not going to change any little bit there for me. But as long as we are upgrading things and talking about upgrades, this is my Fuchsia tiering up to the final tier. The final frontier. What? Oh, no, didn't say it. So we're about to max out my first Devore Fuchsia, which I know some people already have maxed out, but this is my first. So that is now done. Final feast tier, there you go. So now this is done. We can push this all the way to 60 if we want. As far as that buff goes, let's just see. So right now I'm at 52. I'm getting 164,000 and change. At 55, it goes up to 176. And then if I push it all the way to 60, it caps out at 202,000. So if I go these last, 7.5 levels here, I'll go up about 40,000, just shy about 38,000 more faster mining speed, which again, with the Ferengi whip technology, is kind of irrelevant for a lot of people. If you don't have the whip, obviously it's a nice upgrade. Cargo capacity, 4.5 million. Okay, that's, without any type of crew on it. And what does the Fuchsia refinery look like at tier 12? 15K per box, decent amount of parts, and we're talking about 1.5 million or 750K million per chest pull, so double pull 1.5 million. Okay, nice little chunk of parts. We can start investing in a second one, or I can start converting over here, trying to pull some of these parts if I want. Well, that was fun. Not as much changed. There's only a few little things in the resource refineries and things like that. 50 plus is kind of all lumped into the same brackets. So there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't change after 50. And now I just have to figure out what my other upgrades are going to be, because I have to do the refinery. The refinery requires the vault. The vault I can do. So I can do the vault, I can do the refinery and get those out of the way. And then it's going to be the docks on the outside that have to get upgraded. But those all require rare gas, so that's definitely going to slow me down. Looking at our calendar real fast, there are no station events coming up for the, this is it's just some minor station events over the next day or two. It's not until Tuesday afternoon that we get a station upgrade event, so I may queue up one or two things just for points, or to spend the materials for the, current Shaxx Freeman event here. Maybe at least try and get to this next milestone, grab these remaining shards. If you have the whip, do you need to invest in another fuchsia? No, probably not. I don't have the whip though, so. Or if you want to have two ships going, you put the whip on the weaker one and you have the maxed out one and you have two solid ships doing their thing. But I did not buy the Ferengi whip. I'm kind of sitting on Battle Pass only right now until I see where things go the next couple months. And we'll go from there.